Before we get started.
Hi, I'm C.M. Campbell. Most of you guys know me as Cassie Reads. I officially switched over to C.M. Campbell to start my author journey in its entirety, and I've stopped reading for the most part, so I felt like it was disingenuous at the moment. I am from the Midwest. That will take a lot of parts in my books, even though they are centered in Atlanta. There's a lot of lifestyle that I kind of put in there. I am a mom of two amazing little children. They are why I do what I do. Uh, I'll get into that without crying later.
Oh, don't cry. Don't
Oh,
cry.
I am a crybaby. I'm a Virgo. I cry baby. But this was a really big project for me. I wanted to do this before my 31st birthday happened, which is in September, and
Yeah.
I did it, even if it was going to be a me project.
Yay. Yay. So proud of you. So
Thank you.
proud of you. All right. So let's get into this. Um, you stepped into the literary world as a first-time author. Can you walk us through the exact moment you knew you had a story that needed to be told and how you fought through the tears, fears, or doubts that come with becoming a new voice in a saturated space?
So I've always wrote, regardless if it has come to fruition or not. I have always been a writer. Um, I am a huge overthinker.
Yeah.
Someone was calling me. I am a huge overthinker. I get in my head, so I have started tons of books and never finished them. When I was 20, so about 10 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had my daughter right before my 21st birthday. So I was a single mom. That went on the back burner.
Yeah.
And I had my son, and that went on the back burner.
Yeah.
And now my boyfriend, he has given me the space and opportunity to write and explore my dreams while he takes care of our entire household. Uh,
Oh.
yes, he was like, "This is what you want to do," even if it was just book talk or if it was writing.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to really stop self doubting because I would get 10, 20 chapters into a book, trash it, or just put it in the back burner. I have a friend, Jackie. I gave her the first 4 chapters, 5 chapters of Colliding into His Arms, and she said, if you don't publish this or continue writing it, she's like, I will get on a flight from North Carolina and I will whoop your ass. She's like, this is so good. This is a story that needs to be told. So I really want to say it's the community that I've built around me that really pushed me to do this. And then another thing, like earlier I mentioned, I do this for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
How can I tell my kids to pursue your dreams if I'm always overthinking and not doing it?
True.
You have to lead by example. So I can't say, oh, baby, you want to do this, this, and this, and mommy's scared to do it, so but you need to go out and do it. I had to lead by example. So even if it was I just did it for me and I never published it, I wanted to complete a book in its entirety.
Yeah. So in the Black contemporary romance space, sometimes you get negative things that people say, from industry expectations to social media noise. It can be overwhelming. What internal and external practices have you built to protect your creative spirit and stay rooted in why you started?
So as I've made a lot of connections with authors and stuff like that and learning their life stories and the tips and tricks of the trade, is not everyone is going to enjoy my work, and that is perfectly fine. It's not meant for everyone. My story resonates with the people that it's supposed to resonate with, and the people who do not enjoy it, that's okay, because I write like me. I don't write like any other author, in my opinion, so far. So at the end of the day, you like me, you don't, and that's kind of how I have to keep it. If not, I can get mouthy. So I just choose to take the higher road and just realize it's not for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's my first book, so if you're mad at my first debut novella, I'm so sorry. I'm learning still.
Yeah. So every author needs a tribe, but the definition looks different for everybody. For you, is your writing tribe more emotional support, creative collaboration, or accountability partners? How did they impact this first project?
So I would say it's a combination of all three. I have what I call two pin sisters. I have a lot of other authors that I connect with, but I have two pin sisters. Lynette is her author name. She wrote Passport to Love and A Kingpin Seduction. And then I have Nitra Antoinette.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Lynette through the Discord that I have, which is a reading Discord. And then I met Nitra through, she reached out to me to help with her debut novella last year. Mm-hmm. And we sit on, I'm not shitting you, from like 10 a.m. to about 4 p.m. just sitting on FaceTime writing, bouncing ideas off each other, walking us through like what's going on in our heads. So it's been really good because Lynette is signed to a publisher. Nitra is not. So when it was kind of trying to decide what I was going to do for myself, it helped because they gave me both sides of the industry. Of doing it solely by yourself, which is a monster in its own, and then also trying to find the right publisher for you.
That is true. Talk to me about the mental gymnastics of being a first-time author. Were there points where imposter syndrome or perfectionism tried to block your flow, and how did you walk through those internal barriers?
So I am a perfectionist to my core. So as soon as something doesn't look right, I want to toss it. But I had to stop, leave whatever I was working on in that moment, and really think, hey, is it bad or are you just overdoing it? Mm-hmm. So I've had to just pause and realize, you know what? You're overthinking. And I feel like this story was a little easier for me because it is based off my true life. So some of the events in it, I was like, oh, that's what I've lived through. And then I had to find other moments to not fill, but to make the story. And it's just like, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect because no story is perfect. There are minor errors or issues in everyone's story. Someone's always going to have something to say about something. So I had to realize, this is what I wrote. This is what I wrote for me. I write these stories for me. I don't write it for the readers. If you get something out of it, I'm happy about that. But I want to make myself happy when I'm reading these stories.
Yeah. The world you built around your characters was heavy with real world angst, girl. But still hopeful. When you sat down to plot, what emotional foundations did you intentionally lay down for these characters to either heal or break under?
So, as I said before, this is loosely based off my true life. Mm-hmm. I was a single mom before I met my boyfriend. I was going to school and trying to better my life. I did not have a good relationship with my kids' fathers. I was doing it all by myself. And then I met my boyfriend. And it was one of those cringe dating apps, meetups. And then he showed me what it is to have a man in your life. Mm-hmm. I remember when we first started dating, I thanked him for something that is basic human needs. I think he bought me tampons, and I was just like, oh my God. And he's like, that's just basic shit I should be doing. I had never experienced it. I had never had great relationships prior to him. So when I wrote this story, I wanted to really showcase that. They're like, yes, you can go through shitty relationships, familial or relationship or love relationships, and still find someone that is your tribe. I know Gemma is the villain of this story. And I will say my mother is not like that. My mother and I did have our rough patches and stuff like that, but my mom is no Gemma. And as far as like Darius and being on the spectrum, I just grew up in an area where we were around children that had autism. I'm on the spectrum myself. And it was something that I was truly passionate about. If it wasn't for me writing this story, I was going back to college to get my business degree to open my own daycare for children with special needs because we don't have it in my area. Yeah. And it's so often that we do need it because they're turned away as problems instead of just special children that need to be loved and taken care of.
So, Sage, as a mother of two, a woman forced into resilience because of life's constant blows. Trevon, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
How did you balance writing a character who is strong but still vulnerable without slipping into the strong Black woman trope that often flattens out complexities?
So I feel like there's always the strong black woman trope
Mm-hmm.
when it's just a woman trying to survive and
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the cards that she was dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy for me because, like I said, I've lived this life. I've lived working 2 jobs and taking care of children and supporting the bills. And like, yes, I have my mom, I have my brother, my sister, but they only had so much to offer me as well.
Right.
And my mom always raised me, this is what you have put yourself into, so you got to pick yourself back up by the bootstraps and keep on moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had a chance to break down and cry. And if I did break down and cry, it was in the shower because my mom never broke down in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want that to negatively affect my children, because just because I'm going through something doesn't mean that they need to see it in that moment when they're so young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my kids are 10 or she's almost 10 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to make sure that I made sure that she wasn't the damsel, because she did not need to be saved by Mari.
No.
But she also had to realize there is room for someone who can show you greatness and give you an addition to what you already have.
Facts. Sage's relationship history, especially with that jackass, reflects real cycles of emotional manipulation and heartbreak. How did you navigate showcasing trauma without letting it define her whole story? And how did you give her space to still desire love?
We've all dealt with shitty, manipulative relationships. And it's just lived experience that I can either let this ruin my entire young life. She's only 30. Or I can realize this was a shitty situation, a lesson learned, essentially. And it's not the end. Yeah, there are shitty people out there and people who play games, but you have to move on because you can't let that trauma always define you. If that's going to sit on someone's couch and working through that, or talking to your homegirls at the bottom of a bottle one night or 2 nights, you find the peace that you find, but you have to keep on pushing on. Because my mom, she was single from the time that she left my dad until I was 20. She did not have any relationships with anyone. And I've seen her going back into the dating world. And it's like her dating as a high schooler again. I didn't want that for myself, because she was like, it was easier. Because I guess I'm going into a different topic. There's a lot of shitty people, especially with being a single parent, you have to be on the lookout for.
Oh, yeah.
So she would rather be single than put us in a traumatic moment, which I understand, I applaud. But I also was like, when I met my boyfriend, I was 25. I didn't want my whole life to be over at 25, just because I made some poor decisions and who I laid with.
Yeah. So, Gemma.
Yes.
Gemma's Sage mother was one of those most layered characters. Flawed almost to the point of villainy. In building her, were you inspired by real life mother and daughter tensions you've observed in the community around you, or was she born fully fictional?
Oh, no. I have a friend whose mother is exactly like that. That no matter what man does to her, she is at fault. And she is bitter and jealous that her daughter's thriving. And like my mom and I, we bump heads. We're the same person, but we also understand each other's boundaries and how to communicate that now that I'm an adult and I've had children and I know what she went through and why she did some of the things that she did.
Yeah.
But Gemma is definitely someone I know, someone that I have told my friend to cut off and to no longer speak to, because I'm real about boundaries. I told her, you may be her child, but you are still an adult that deserves respect and love and to be treated a certain way. So until she can do that, you have to set that boundary, or she's going to continue to push that line.
Yeah. So when writing Mari, you crafted a black man who was emotionally available, confident, and protective without being controlling. In a genre where men are often either toxic or overly perfect? How did you find the balance for his character?
So as far as crafting a black man that was so available and open, um, I wanted to say the fact that I understand that there are those men out there. So
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes in black romance, they're either pushovers
Mm-hmm.
or toxic, and there's
Mm-hmm.
not a real middle ground. And everyone asks me how I write a black man being in an interracial relationship, and it doesn't it to me it's not that big of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I've dated black men, I've dated all men or different men of different races, and I based Mari off of my own boyfriend.
Mm.
The only difference between them is skin tone,
Mm-hmm.
because good men are good men, no matter what color they are.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to really showcase that there are men who are out there that can love you the right way, in a healing way, without having to break down your door and get mad that you listen to what he was saying, because sometimes we read and they're like, oh, well, I want XYZ, or I'm going to do XYZ, but you can't do XYZ. And it's just like, I will make your chest hurt more than you know.
Mm. So one thing that stood out was Mari love didn't fix Sage. It nourished her. How intentional were you about making sure the relationship arc was about mutual healing and not just a woman being saved by a man?
Because so often we're taught to look for a man to fix us or to heal us.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom taught me best. If you cannot love yourself, you cannot accept a healthy love, because you will continue to attract what's around you. So, and my mom also said, people who are predatory like that, they can smell it on you. So they're going to come after you if you're not healed. So from the time that I had my daughter, I was single for 3 years working on myself. And then I decided to do some cartwheels and some ball headed hoe shit, and then popped my son. But even then, I sat and was single until I chose to heal. I went and sought counseling and realized what was not wrong, but what was triggering to me. And I wanted to be healthy to someone else as well, because I was not perfect. I have my own issues, and I didn't want to continue the toxic cycle, especially with involving my children.
Yeah. So the undercurrent of family betrayal, jealousy, and hidden enemies added a sharp edge to the story, because you made my nerves bad. Why was it important for you to weave in the reality that sometimes our greatest battles are with the people we call blood?
Because everyone says blood is thicker than water, and especially in the black community, we let a lot of shit slide that we shouldn't. The abuse and the tragedies and tragic moments, it's, oh, well, that's your uncle, or that's your da 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 da. We ignore it. We blame the child. We blame the person that is being the victim of those moments. And I was like,
yeah,
no, I wanted that to be a healing moment, that you can come back from those moments.
yeah,
those things can happen to you in life, and
yeah.
you can get past them.
That is true. That is true. Mari didn't just accept Sage. He embraced her children, her brother. How important was it for you to represent a man seeing the entire package of a woman's life and not flinching?
So I've dating as a single parent. I've had those men that are ready for an instant family, which is very off-putting when I think about it now. And then I met my boyfriend, who was very, hey, I want to build that foundation with you, and then your kids are an extension of you. And he's like, I want to make sure we're good before we even get attached, because he's like, he loves children. He comes from a big family, and family is very important to him. So I was like, he made it very, very clear he wanted to hone in on what we had, and then involved our children. And then same with our family. He's like, your family is going to be my family one day, that I'm dating to marry you. So it was never, oh, we're just dating to date. He dated me with intention to marry me.
Okay. So you included autism representation
Yes.
through uh, a very powerful and, to me, okay, how I'm gonna word this, because even though I typed it out, that is not the question I wanted to ask. You put in autism, something that a lot of people don't put into their books because they're afraid that the backlash of not saying it right, that it's not going according to the story because it's going to be too much.
Mm-hmm.
You put that in your story. Why was it important for you to bring neurodivergency into this world? And what research or lived experience have you got? What? I'll be writing so fast.
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
So, as far as even now, I'm writing Darius's story,
Mm-hmm.
and he has autism. And the thing is, when I sat down and looked at it, everyone is on a spectrum. Especially, I will say, in the Black community, we mask our autism. We're just weird. That's a weird or weird personality trait, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And one, I don't believe that are a lot of things, especially in Black romance or Black literature, is touched on, like disabilities, autism, things like that. And I want that. Mel Dow is a good showcase of mental health.
He is.
Autism representation. Tay Monet's new book just came out, and it has a deaf character. And it's just like, I'm glad that we're finally showcasing it, because it is in our life.
Mm-hmm.
The older generations were just taught to ignore it.
Yeah.
You were to be seen and not heard. And I feel like that is just so soul crushing.
It is.
I want people to know that you matter. Even if you fall on the spectrum, or wherever you fall on the spectrum, or if you have a disability, like, that doesn't have to stop anything that you're doing.
Exactly. I think Victoria C did it too. She explained. She actually put my disability in her book and thoroughly explained, even though it was a dark romance, but she thoroughly explained both characters who had the same things that I had, so thought out and not cringeworthy or made them seem like bad. That's what I want to see. So when you write things like that, and you said Tay Monet, and of course Mel Dow, she's really good with that.
She wrote about manic depression, and I was like, damn,
Really
I have manic depression. So I'm like, oh, she wrote the hell out of that. And the thing is, you can understand something without trying to just publicize it and popularize it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've seen books where they're like, oh, that you're just trying to make a token book. This is the token person in this book. And I grew up with...
There's a lot of readers who have children or are on the spectrum, and I just think there should be more books about it. We shouldn't be as taboo about things that happen in our community because we're just trying to keep it in the community. Oh, that's their problem, or that don't really need to be discussed. Oh, it's my fiction. I don't want to read about that. I don't think that should be taboo. That is a thing. You know, whether we are talking about mental health issues, neurodivergency, it's a thing.
It's life. It's life at the end of the day. No matter how we want to flip it, turn it, it is real life to us, and something that we have to deal with, unfortunately.
And I just want to say thank you for putting that in a story. Thank you so much, because it needs to happen. And the fact that you said, you know what, I'm gonna put this in a story and I'm gonna make a character, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
I wanted to, for one, the fact that I absolutely wanted to work with children with autism, being on the spectrum and stuff like that. And it's just like, there are so many of us living everyday lives that are on the spectrum, have mental health issues, and we just kind of move along. Yeah. And I wanted seeing it more in literature, that you can be happy, healthy, thriving adults having any of those things. It doesn't have to stop you from being a whole human being, and you just have to take a minute and understand that, hey, I may or may not have to go get diagnosed or have those things assessed, because we didn't have assessments were not readily available, and our parents were damn well not taking us to go get seen, especially in the Black community. Oh, just go sleep, drink some water, go do them dishes, go to
ginger ale,
and drink. It is just crazy.
But you also showed the flip side of the good and bad within the family, how society treats people, and how a lot of times society does not treat individuals with disabilities as normal people, because they just are normal people that have something. That's it. That's all. They want normal lives like the rest of us.
Yeah, when it comes to like I said, autism, there is a huge spectrum. Everyone wants to see people who have autism or who have disabilities as one thing.
Yeah.
What they see, and they don't realize it's the person next to you. The person that you see smiling all the time has crippling depression. It's just real life, and sometimes we want to ignore it. And I understand not everyone wants to read about it when it comes to reading, because they're trying to escape. But that was something I really wanted to touch on in my books. And of course, I'm writing other things and that don't touch on those things, but that's what I really wanted to focus on, at least for this first novella.
I just, anytime y'all talk about mental health or neurodiversity, it just brings me joy. As a person who suffers from being a sociopath and explosive anger disorder, yeah, a lot of times everybody be like, "Oh, Storm, she gonna fight everybody," but not understanding is something I sometimes can't even control.
No.
But I be sitting here trying to live a normal fucking life.
I was talking to someone earlier, and it's just like, we're so often we mask. I mask a lot. Between being on the spectrum, between having manic depression, I just mirror what I see to get through the day.
Yeah.
Because who wants to be around the person who's just like, I'm just this all the time?
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Is it? Because everyone thinks, especially when we talk about it, you're like, I have manic depression, or I have autism, or I have BPD. They want to put you in a box, and then that's not who everyone fits into that box.
Yes.
And
yes.
You don't showcase that. It kind of it's a stereotype.
Yeah, people assume that how you carry. How can I put this? People feed off energy, and that's a real thing.
Yeah.
With me, I have many masks that I have to keep in place, because the real face is very. I don't show emotion, so I have learned to show emotion to make people comfortable around me. I laugh, I smile, but that's not me, really, honestly.
And on my end, there are more days that I am sad and down, and I have to. I have children, and I'm not saying that it's something easy to do. I fight every single day to be the best mom I can be, to laugh. There's days that I want to be laid up in my bed.
Yeah.
Guess what? Life has to keep on going.
Yeah.
And I have a partner who will let me lay in bed if I need to.
Yeah.
But it's so often it's just like, you have this, so you're this. Or that's the way I see it, and I don't think that's true in any way, shape, or form. And I want to really write about that. Because even Darius in the new book coming up, it's 8 years later. He's gone through therapy. He's learned how to deal with the world around him to become a better, improved, healed version of himself.
Yeah.
And therapy is amazing. I know a lot of times we say therapy is shit and we can't do that. Therapy saved my life.
Look, you know what? And I'm going to say this, and then I'll move on to the next question. For some people, therapy is the lifeblood. It's what they need. And then for some of us, we need multiple things going on at once. And it's not just the medication. It's just not the therapy. We just need peace. And chaos triggers us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I always say that reading has saved my life because it saved my family from me as a veteran, as someone who has mental issues that are very dangerous.
Hmm.
That reading has saved my life. So I commend any author that comes into this space and just take a chance to write, because it's hard, because people are cruel and people don't understand how hard it is for y'all to even put just the words out there, whether it's a novella or a full-length novel. So once again, Cassie, I say thank you.
It takes a lot to put yourself out there and to openly allow yourself to be criticized on your work, something that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into. And at coming from book talk and from now being an author, I've seen both sides of it. I've seen people who tear down authors just crazy amounts, and then I've seen authors who are a little too testy when it comes to their craft. Like, as long as you don't bring it to my DMs, you can say what you need to say, and that is not my business. My reviews, not my business. Videos that I may or may not see on TikTok or Instagram, not my business. The moment you say, "Hey, Cassie," or "Hey, CM," in my DMs, you want to have a conversation. So we're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, people at the internet give them a lot of courage. It's unfortunate, you know. I have to learn not to feed into a lot of the negativity, because it's just it's overwhelming.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, and sometimes it triggers me, and then I can't stop. You know what I'm saying? So I literally, once again, I say my piece is reading. When I read and go into that bubble, I'm fine. I find peace. I find joy, and I can come out that bubble peaceful.
Yeah.
It's when somebody interrupts my peace, that's when I become chaotic. That's when I crash out.
You just want to be a girl. You just want to be reading your books and being a girl and just relax and just find some type of to shut your brain off.
Yeah,
I started reading to shut my brain off
yeah,
because I have so much going through my brain all the time. Those words on those pages brought
yeah,
me comfort. They
yeah,
took me through depression and just self doubt and stuff like that, because you can read about things that you go through. You can read things about that. I like urban romance. I have never chopped up, seen nothing. I ain't never done it. I have lived a sheltered life. When people are like, my boyfriend's like, you ain't seen this, this, and this. No. When y'all talk about it, I'm like, congrats. That is something I don't think I could jump into, because
yeah,
when I try to write, I want it to be authentic to me and not have to, okay, well, let me do the research on how to chop up a brick or whatever the case may be.
hmm
I want to make sure it's something that, I'm like, you know what? That's Cassie. That's Cassie's voice. Point blank, period.
yeah. I mean, I like it. I like it.
Oh, I love
So
urban romance. Don't get that wrong. I just,
I love it. It definitely reflects my life, but I know, like, after Roy said, I would love to see a veteran book, the aftermath of a veteran situation. Hell, like mine, like PTSD to sociopath to anger, explosive anger disorder. Those are real things that turn us and trigger us into, well, society try to say we're monsters, but we're not. But yeah, I would love to see that. But looking back on your first project, now that it's out in the world, what are some lessons, good or hard, that you're carrying with you into your next books?
currently, like, I'm working on Darius's book. I read the reviews, the constructive ones. I wrote all the notes down, and I was like, okay, what can I benefit to put into my next work? Which was slow down.
Mm,
I can see what some of the readers were saying when I had a lot of big moments, but not a lot of details leading into those moments.
mm,
I wrote about a lot of issues, but I didn't do well transitioning from one scene to another. I understand that. I get that. So now I'm really thinking, pausing. Okay, well, I just did this really big event, but how did we get here? What is the backstory? So it's not just some random event thrown in. So I think I just got past chapter 13. I was on writing chapter 13, 10, 11, 12, and 13 for like 2 weeks. I have been stuck in that because I couldn't get the transition how I wanted to. Now I'm out of it and I've reworked it and now I'm well past that, but I'm slowing down because I started writing on February 22nd is when I started writing Colliding into His Arms. I was watching a stream and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be here for 24 hours anyway. Let me stay up and try to write this. And then I wrote it and it was more or less, okay, I'm getting it out. It's off my chest. Now I'm taking the lessons from the reviews that were good because no one wants to ever hear their work critiqued.
Yeah.
But I was like, let me go ahead and take this and slow down a little bit. And now we got a slow burn.
Okay.
I went from fast and heavy to let's slow her down a little bit.
Okay. So, was there a scene that you had to rewrite multiple times to get that balance right?
I will say the court scene.
Why? Can you explain that?
Because I really had trouble taking, as shitty as he was, taking a father away from their child. When sometimes that, like, they didn't have good examples of fathers. Because sometimes it is nature versus nurture. Sometimes people are not nurtured a lot. And they just reflect how that is. I know my mom, she made sure not to ever speak ill about my father in front of me or my brother or my sister, ever. Despite all the shit he was doing, my mom made sure that it was something that she's like, you'll clock it. You'll get old enough and you'll realize what the shit is. So I debated on giving him a chance of redemption. I really, really did. And then I was like, nah, sometimes people aren't worth redemption. And that was that moment for me. I really wanted, I was like, well, maybe they can do the custody, but I was like, nah, not this time. Maybe next time.
So, when you were building the world, did any character surprise you and evolve differently than you planned?
Gemma. It was hard for me to balance how evil she truly was going to be. Was she just going to be the shitty mom who always has something to say? Or was she going to be the real absentee parent that she was? It was always, well, I got to go do this. I got to go live my life. Because we do have parents out there. They're like, well, I had my kids. Now I have an older one who's old enough to take care of the younger one. And that's all it is. So it was really hard for me to figure out which direction I was taking her. Also, again, was I giving her a redemption story? Was Sage and Darius going to forgive her for all the hurt that they had, especially when they had Miss Regina there? Stepped up for them when they were kids.
Yeah. What emotion you personally sitting in were you personally sitting in while writing the hardest scenes?
So when I write, I think I detach. I'm putting that story out there. So it was hard for me to emotionally connect because in those moments I will overthink it because I think, well, that doesn't sound right. So I wrote it and then I fine-tuned it later. When Darius finally stepped up and said something to his mom, I think I broke down writing that because it is easy to understand the world around you. But you finally step up for yourself and say, enough is enough. I don't care if it's towards me or towards another person. It's hard to do that, especially when you are I don't want to say just so beaten down, because it she just was a shitty mom.
Mm-hmm.
She, I guess, abused them in a different way. She was just not there emotionally.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to put a boundary down, and that's enough. And I've done that, where I'm like, you don't get access to me anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's
I
true.
had to learn that. I had to learn that lesson.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. Speaking of what's next, are there spin-offs, continuations, or even characters deep dives planned for the universe? What should we as fans get excited about?
So I am deep into Darius and his love interest Sora right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there is going to be another spinoff. The readers are going to be mad.
Oh, hell.
Because they want a certain couple to be together, or certain two people to be together. And
I know the fuck you not.
What?
What? Who?
The readers want Zion and Raven.
I'm about to get off this motherfucking live.
And, see, what I started off Zion and Raven immediately after putting down Colliding. And I couldn't get it right. I couldn't decide if I just wanted to do something short and sweet, short and nasty, I mean, or a full-length novella. And I wrote it, and it just didn't seem right. So Zion is back in my rhythm. Raven is not back. I haven't decided what I'm doing for him yet, though.
Is it really necessary?
Can I just let him just stay out of it? He doesn't get anybody. I'll just let the readers assume that they're together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? I do have another project that I'm going to do after this that isn't involved into this universe and this world.
Are you ever going to go dark?
Not at the moment. I am going to go nasty.
Like erotica nasty?
Yes, I have a 5 to 8 mini short novelettes that I'm planning on to release this summer.
Let's talk about this. Tell us about this project.
So I will give you a broad overview, because people. So it is going to be, right now I'm aiming for 8. It's currently at 5. 5, I don't want to say couples. 5 sets of people meet at a meeting place. And things get down and dirty while at this community place. And I'm exploring different kinks and different things involved with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing a lot of research.
Uh-huh.
And I want to make sure that I'm doing everything properly, safely, within my purview. If not, I will reach out to some people to talk about certain things. Not Bree, stop. But yeah, I am doing Q's little
Now
project.
Randy said talk to Storm.
Yeah. There are some things that I thought about reaching out to, or of course I'm going to reach out to you. You're my only person that I know that is in the world that could give me some insight on a few things. But I'm excited for it. I did Q's, and apparently I'm no longer seen as a sweet little angel baby after she read that project, those 3 chapters I submitted to her. Because I am a sweet little angel baby. They don't be doing nothing.
In your dreams. You nasty, Cassie. Quit playing. Quit playing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Cassie is nasty. And she's in denial.
If you think Mari was bad, Darius is on a whole nother level.
And you talking about you a sweet little girl, bye. So Will readers and fans get opportunities to interact with your world beyond the page, like merch drops, events, bonus scenes, playlists, which I have to say the music was awesome, or even visuals?
So I am going to start my own street team shortly. I'm going to have a mix of full-time beta readers, full-time ARC readers. There will be books that will be released to them for helping me out in this project. I'm planning on doing t-shirts and stuff like that. Miss Evans is one of my people that I'm going to definitely reach out to. She helped me do my first round of edits for the free screen. She just wanted to help me out on this project. I appreciate her down bad. Cinnamon, she also does editing. She offered as an ARC reader to help me out because I was doing all this out of my little pocket and I'm a stay-at-home girlfriend. So I was like, how can I do this in a way that isn't going to break my boyfriend's heart? Because he'd be the one that's fronting this endeavor.
Okay. So for Black women, biracial women that want to be in the world of the Black book space, who dream of writing contemporary romance, urban fiction, paranormal, whatever genre, but feel unseen, what honest advice would you give about preserving your voice while navigating an industry that often tries to water us down?
So as far as I will start with within our own community, write the book. There's going to be readers who are going to get something out of your books. Your voice deserves to be heard, even if you feel like it isn't. I often felt like my voice did not deserve to be heard because who am I? So I had to get out of my own head for that. So please write the books. And just know, a lot of us, as soon as like 4th, 5th, 6th project comes around, we don't even want to be associated with the first one. So make sure you write it. And then also get a team around you. It doesn't have to be a paid team. It can just be a team of people who are real with you, but also support you. Because it's easy to have your friends like, oh, yeah, girl, I love this book. And it wasn't. It wasn't good. Not saying mine, but I'm saying there are a lot of people who will sometimes hype you up instead of checking you. So you have to have a balance.
Yeah.
I have some people like, girl, what the fuck what was that? Fix it right now. That don't sound right, which I love. Because in my head, it all makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, well, how do we get here? And I'm like, well, XYZ, that's how we got here. And they're like, yeah, but the readers aren't going to get that. And I said, oh, you're right. So make sure you have people around you who want to see you win. Like I have my pen sisters and I have other authors who have helped me out in this project. They are ARC reading for me. They're beta reading for me. And it's just like, there are people who want to see you win.
Yeah.
Find the people who are actually out there and want to see you win, because there's a lot of space for us. Because no author writes the same as another author. We all have our own tone of voice, even if we write the same genres, the same topics. Because there's only so many ways you can write a biker romance or a cowboy romance. But we all put our individual spins on it. So, like, I have my friends will be talking about stuff. And I'm like, oh, I already saw that topic being written about. And I'm like, if you don't write that fucking book, as long as you are not verbatim copying what they wrote, it's going to be your own tone. So, do it.
Facts.
Because, I mean, unless you're Asia O'Hare and you writing aliens with 6 dingalangs or 9 dingalangs, I mean...
6 dicks and a biscuit.
I mean, there are original ideas. But there are so many things that you can write within those original ideas.
Yeah. That is true. That is very, very true. And finally, tell us how we can support you. Drop the website, newsletter information, social handles, and anywhere else we can keep up with you and your journey? Plus, are you going to any goddamn book events?
As far as how you can support me, I have paperbacks for sale on my PayHip. It is payhip.com/author C.M. Campbell. I am working on getting the bundles back together. I'm getting with Shannon about stickers and stuff like that because I want to really give you guys the best of the best, which I've learned Amazon has pissed me off in this trying to make sure everything is perfect and realizing that it can't always be.
Yeah.
Social media handles, it is at MissCamp0419 on all social media. I'm on Threads, Instagram. I have Author C.M. Campbell Facebook page. I go on there and I dip out. I need to be better about getting on Facebook. And then I'm here on TikTok. I do not have a newsletter yet. And as far as book events, not as an author. I have not jumped on any book tours so far. I'm going to Books on the Ground in October as a reader. But I will be on book events. That is going to happen. I am manifesting that. I will get my happy ass. And Miss Nicole already got me together about not being able to sell myself and yap about myself. So I will be on somebody's event at their table saying, "Hey, buy my books."
It's gonna be the Boozy Book Tour, y'all.
No, I would like to be, of course. That I would love to be my first one.
If she don't do it, we're gonna push her to it. Because we want her to sell and be a best-selling author.
In my eyes, in my daughter's eyes, I already am.
There you go.
That's all I needed. When she walked around a family event and said, "My mom's an author. My mama wrote a book. What your mama do?" I said, "Oh, not you trying to fight with these kids about my mom." On the school bus, "My mom's an author. What did your mom do today? Did she sell a book?" I'm like, "My God." But I'm excited. This is going to be a good year. I said I wanted to do this before my 31st birthday, and I did it. And I'm going to continue.
So I'm gonna say some words of wisdom. Please do not cry. No.
I already cried earlier, and you didn't see, so you're good. I'm good.
All right. Cassie, for as long as I've known you, you have always tried to uplift authors, readers, and anybody within the space of Black book talk, hardcore. And I appreciate that because it's from a genuine place. It's not from just a place of I'm trying to fit in with this group. You don't give a fuck about none of that. You just want everybody to succeed. And I appreciate that. Your first book was amazing. You know, I'm not a real contemporary romance type bitch. You know what I'm saying? I have my reservation about contemporary romance. It ain't
you
enough.
like the streets and you like everything else. And
I like paranormal in the streets. But you gave me a little bit of both. Well, not the paranormal part, but you gave me big dick energy. You gave me Maury shit. And you gave me not a bitch that was a damsel in distress. And so I appreciate that you wrote it well for it to be your first book. I feel like it's not getting enough traction because it's a damn good story. Damn good story. And I just want you to understand that no matter what this space does, no matter what negativity will come, brush that shit off. Because a bitch will always have something to say. A nigga will always have something to say. A clique will always have something to say. But that don't mean shit. They don't pay you, they ain't fucking you, and they don't make you happy. Yep. So, therefore, keep it moving, keep it pushing, and keep doing you. You know what I'm saying? Fuck everybody else. And I do mean fuck everybody else. And keep talking about things that people don't want to talk about. The spectrum, mental illness, all that stuff, because it needs to be said and it needs to be done, especially in our community, because that old trope of keeping it in-house is over. So I appreciate you and I love what you're doing, and continue to do what you do.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. It has been a process. It has been a journey. but I will shout out all of my friends, yourself included. I consider you a friend that have spoken many, many amazing words into me. Even if they were like, hey, let's do better on the next one. I will always appreciate people who are real and true with me. I try to be as real as I can be. I don't ever enjoy getting in where I fit in. I've always been myself. I've always been different. I've always been on the outskirts of things. I want people to win. Like, why wouldn't I? This is such a hard industry already.
It is.
Especially being an indie. So who am I to be like, oh, well, you don't get to make it, or I don't want to see you win. Even if I don't enjoy someone's books, or I don't enjoy them as a person, I would never want ill on somebody. Even the girl who DM'd me that bullshit.
Hey, let it go.
You have a blessed day. I will just always root for everyone that I can. I'm so happy to know you and Nicole and the ladies of the Discord, because there was a point in my journey that I was going to quit. I was getting overwhelmed. I was starting to let the views matter instead of the love of everything. So I am so thankful for my tribe. Even if it's just on the internet. I know we're planning on going to Monique's event next year and have a big old blast out. I'm just thankful that I have a beautiful, supportive team surrounding me at all times. Because it's hard. It's hard to be on the internet and to put your face on there and give the world a piece of you to judge at all times.
It is. It is. The good thing about my mental illness, I really don't give a fuck. Like, really, really don't give a fuck.
Sometimes I wish I really and truly do not. But then I have to think, Cassie, are you making this a moment? Because you overthink. Because I was looking at something earlier and it was like, would you give up, or to get $500 billion, would you, but the people that you know, everyone hates you. And I was like, in my head, they already do. So give me that 500 billion. I said, I'm stupid. But there was like, my time since August on Booktalk has really helped me a lot in life. And that's kind of, I don't want to say sad to say, but it's helped me get out of my shell. Because I was living in Arkansas, stuck in the mountains, birds and a man with no family around. I was not dealing with them people in my city, all 2,500 of them. I was not doing that. Yeah, my man was a chef. We went for the job, and thankfully we're back around our people. So I started doing Booktalk. Thanks to two of my friends. There are not bookies. I think they just try to get me out of their face with the books. But it's been a journey. I love it here.
Well, I hope everybody that's on here, like, really go. Your link is in your bio, right?
Yes. For my PayHip, I need to put my link tree back up there. But for my books, they are in my bio.
They're in her bio. Support. I'm gonna always say support indie authors. Support Black and BIPOC traditional authors that are not problematic.
Yes.
Support them. Show them as much support as you would their white counterparts. So whether you read diversely or not, at the end of the day, you still a nigga.
I'm sorry. My man's trying to crawl behind me.
you still a nigga. So support all of that. So let's do a little housekeeping. You mind, Cassie?
No, go ahead.